Welcome to Wake Up the Echoes, presented by TireRack.com. I'm your host, Tony Simeone, and I hope you had a very relaxing Thanksgiving. Of course, we all had a great time because we watched Notre Dame football trounce Stanford 56-23, and I'm excited this week because this is our very first women's basketball episode. I had a chance to talk to head coach Niele Ivey about her team, who is playing very well right now. They have won their last 5 games, and they're getting set for a huge matchup this week against Tennessee. We talked to a couple of student athletes. First, Hidalgo, who is the stellar freshman who's just off to a great start in her first year on campus. And we also talked to Kylee, a veteran presence for this team as well. Later in the show, you're going to hear from a couple of Mabrey sisters. We talked to Dara Mabrey, who just finished up her career, now transitioning into the broadcasting side of things. And then, of course, assistant coach Michaela Mabrey. Those two had a great debate about who the best shooter in their family is. We'll wait until later in the show for them to sort that all out. Great episode as always. Really looking forward to talking to Niele Ivey throughout this entire women's basketball season. Let's not waste any time, and let's catch up with her. Coach, this is our 12th episode of Wake Up the Echoes. We did 10 with Coach Freeman. We've done 1 with Coach Shrews, and now this is our first with you. I'm excited to talk some women's basketball this year. I wanted to start with this, though. Do you listen to any other podcasts? Are you a podcasting person or no?
No.
You know, no podcast
Just
at
this
all.
one.
Just this one? This is it? Okay. I'm excited for you to listen to this then on the way in to and from work. Then if you don't listen to podcasts, you listen to music on the way to work?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what music are we listening to? I learned a lot about Coach Freeman and his tastes last week. What are you listening to on the way in?
Yeah, I'm a big gospel. I listen to gospel music.
Really?
And I'm big on meditation, so sometimes it's like meditative. Sometimes it's a meditative, like a mindset thing that I listen to, but mostly my playlist is gospel. It kind of gets me centered.
Yeah.
I'm big on Andre 3000 right now. He has a new album, and it's very meditative, so I've been listening to that too.
Audric Estime was here last week, Notre Dame running back. He said, someone said, do you know who Outkast is? And he said, who are they? Who is he? He was like, hold on a second. Now we got Andre 3000, big boy. He had no idea. So again, we're going to talk to Hannah Hidalgo later. Didn't even know really what the M1 mixtapes were. It's making me feel old to not know. So good to know you're still in touch with Outkast and Andre 3000. I'll have to check out. And then on the way home, I've always been wondering this with coaches. Like after a game, are you sitting there holding the wheel just thinking plays back? What goes on after a game when you drive home for a home game? Like what is that drive home back? I guess win or lose, it might be different, but what's that experience like driving home?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on the outcome.
Mm-hmm.
So like if it's a great win, I feel really good about it. I probably play some like hype music.
Okay.
Like I'm into Afro beats, so I'll play maybe some Burna Boy or something like that. But if it's something like I'm like, okay, we needed to get better at something, or it's not a great game, or the game was ugly, so sometimes I just don't listen to music and I'm just kind of replaying things and I'm just thinking about the game. So like my music is really low. You know, like It just depends, like the vibe from the game.
Interesting. I could never be a head coach. I think I would really struggle after games depending on the outcome. Let's talk about this season a little bit. You guys started, obviously, not with the result you wanted, but the opportunity to go out there to Paris, to me, watching everything that I saw come back stateside, looked like an amazing opportunity, not just for the team, but I think just for women's basketball to be showcased out there. For you, result aside, what was it like and how valuable was it for your players, the university, and all of women's college basketball?
It was unbelievable. I knew it was going to be just a once-in-a-lifetime experience, but it was first class all the way. You know, right when we landed, we go straight to the Eiffel Tower. We meet Lee Tooley, who is the one that kind of directed everything with complete sports management. I think we met, some high power-ups from Paris. Just the opportunity just to go directly to the Eiffel Tower, something you read about, you hear about, and then the entire weekend. So it was more than just the game. So we had a chance to go to the Louvre Museum. We had a clinic. Under Armour put on a clinic with like 100 young girls. So we had a chance to actually experience Paris, experience the culture. The food was awesome. It was just an incredible experience, and it's something that my team will never forget. Yeah,
I watched all the content. Was very jealous. Is there a meal that sticks out? You said you had some good meals out there. Did you like all the food? I know we're going to talk about food later for Thanksgiving, but in Paris, there's something that stuck out for you guys?
Yeah, I'm a foodie, so it was a couple. There was a couple restaurants that were close to the hotel that I thought were pretty good. But I guess just the experience. We had a dinner on the Seine River on a yacht with both teams.
Really?
And they had a really good meal on that tour. So it was just overall, the whole experience was just first class.
Yeah, once in a lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, last thing on Paris, I want to ask you. I did see the tracksuits.
Mm-hmm.
Rich Fresh put them together, I think for both teams. Just what was that experience like getting those custom suits while you were out there?
That was another just an exclusive. It felt exclusive, so it felt first class. It felt exclusive. First collaboration with Rich Fresh, and he is just the dopest person ever. He came out to both programs and spent a day with us, so I got a chance to kind of listen to him, listen to his vision of why he wanted to help be a part of this event, and just that part of it in itself I thought was really, really cool just to meet him.
Yeah.
And he talked about not getting a chance to like meet all of his clients, and he was very intentional about coming out to meet both programs and meet the team. And we got a lot of he got a chance to tour campus, so that was really cool. And then just the tracksuit in general, it's a very exclusive tracksuit.
Yeah.
So only the highest NBA, I think Steph Curry wears it. A lot of actors and actresses that wear his clothing. So the fact that we have that, and the fact that he made a specialized suit for both programs was just amazing. And then there was a really cool reveal. So it was a reveal after practice one day. I think it was Saturday.
Yeah.
After practice, he did this really cool reveal, and the girls, the team, they were just over. Like they were so happy.
And it's just for players on the team. You didn't bring any extras back. The guys that host podcasts could pop on. It's just
I didn't have your size, but if I did have, I would have brought one back.
Next trip, I'm going to put it in order for you. Let's talk about the team on the floor since then. 5 games, you've won all 5 since. I think scoring close to 100 points a game in those 5 games. Just what have you liked, specifically offensive side of the ball? Obviously, Hannah, who we're going to talk to later, has been great in her first month in college shoes. But big picture, just what have you liked so far from your team offensively?
I love the way that we responded. You talked about earlier, like not the outcome we wanted, obviously, but credit to South Carolina. I feel like they kind of set the bar of the season, and it just showed us like where we need to grow. It was a measuring stick for me, playing a team like that early on, the first game of the season. And so we went back to work. We worked on our offense, worked on balance, worked on our defense. We worked on everything. So to see the way we've responded since that game, and every game we're getting a little bit better. We've obviously have a couple injuries, and so just everyone stepping up and just being very intentional with the way that we're preparing and getting better.
Okay, 2 things then. The first one is just about playing the first game against South Carolina. You said it lets you know where you need to get. Do you like that? I know you don't like losing, but when you get to see that opponent right out of the gate, the rest of the year is kind of a reference point, right? Instead of building up to something right away, okay, guys, we have to get to this standard. Does that help you? Because you guys have looked really good since. Do you think playing a team right out of the gate like that is beneficial for the roster?
I definitely do. It is the first time that I've ever been a part of playing a top 4 team in the country first.
Yeah.
Like I've always, it's been like you have like a month in that in a couple games before you play a team like that. So for the first time now going through it, I was like, man, was this might have been a bad decision. But I knew after the game, I'm like, this is really going to help us. It's going to help us as a team. It's going to help us grow, and it's definitely going to help us down the road. So I'm a proponent of it now.
Okay.
Hopefully I get a chance to challenge myself early again, the next couple years or whatever, maybe next year.
Yeah.
But it speaks a lot. It shows you exactly where you are, but it shows you kind of what you need to work on.
Right. The other thing that you mentioned was the injuries. Obviously, Olivia's still coming back and hoping she's recovering well, but then Sonia goes down and she's out for a while. So I guess when, hopefully, do we think we can see Sonia back on the floor? But then also that too, there's like not that you want to have anybody go down, but someone like Hannah's having to carry more of the load. Do you think that can benefit her, maybe having to play and learn without those guys? And then when they come back, possibly, you're even better going forward.
Yes, absolutely. So like Sonia's going to be out for a couple weeks. Hopefully we'll have her back the end of December.
Okay.
She's recovering really well, and so thank you Jesus, thank you God that it was not season ending, and that she'll be okay. And she's tough, and so everyone on the team has raised their game, and I've asked everyone to do a little bit more. So you talked about Hannah, doing a lot, but everyone's doing a little bit more. Cass, KK, Maddie, it requires the entire team to do a little bit more because Sony is the heartbeat of our team, and Olivia, heartbeat of our team.
Yeah.
And so I think it's going to help us down the road. It's definitely going to help Hannah, just because she's gaining that experience. It's going to help everyone. It's helping, Nat. You see Nat is having an amazing beginning of the season, amazing couple games. So everyone's required to do a little bit more because Sonia and Liv did so much for us.
You're getting ready for Tennessee. I think about Notre Dame, Tennessee, 2 amazing programs. What are you most excited about the opportunity to go down there and play. I mean, you want to play at home, I know, but it's fun to go into those environments too.
Right.
And then what are your Notre Dame Tennessee memories that come to mind when you think of the matchup?
Well, just an incredible program, so just a legendary program. I have so much respect for Pat Summitt and just the Tennessee program. I'm really great friends with Tamika Catching, so a lot of legends that have gone through that program. Yeah. And so I've always had a love and respect for them. And so being able to go down there in Knoxville and be in their territory, hostile environment, like it's going to be so fun. We've had a bunch of great games on neutral sites, so now we get a chance to go in someone else's house, and that's going to be exciting for us and exciting for the season, and will prepare us for the ACC. And matchups that I think about are, one is in particular in 2018 with Marina Enrique, being down, I think, double-digit points coming back to win that game. So those are some incredible matchups, and just playing at Tennessee and them being a Final Four team. It's just so many memories I have of as a player and as an assistant. I'm excited to be able to go down there as a head coach for the first time.
You took my memory. 2018, that was one of my second or third year here. And that was who you guys ended up winning it.
Yes.
But I believe the stat was, and we can double check this and fact check it, I think it was the largest deficit in Notre Dame history that you guys ever overcame. I think you're down like 23 or 24, and then just Marina and Enrique were going off. And I mean, then you guys won handily at the end. It was kind of an amazing comeback. You were on the sideline as an assistant then. Yes. Just like when you're watching players like that shoot you back into a game and come back against, again, a really good Tennessee team, what was going through your head that night?
Just stars rising to the occasion, and everyone knew Enrique and Marina were just, stars. And I feel like those type of moments, those type of matchups in those games, you see the stars just rise and the cream rises to the top. So that's what I felt like being a part of that. And I've been a part of being down, coming back in the tale of two halves, but to see it against Tennessee at Notre Dame, it was awesome. And I remember that game in particular. We just lost, I think, to Louisville, a really tough loss a couple games prior to that. And so that was like a turning point of our season. Yeah. Like, how is this season going to go? And that was the year we won it all. So just see them respond and to see them to fight back from adversity for that group, I thought was pretty special and kind of turned the table for the season.
That game, if you watch her in your head play out the championship video that we saw later that year, it's like it starts with Tennessee. When you come back, then it's like, oh, they're going to win it all this year. The last thing I want to cover before we take our first break is more just about you big picture now in this role. I can't believe this, but of the coaches that are on this show, you are the longest tenured between Coach Shrews, Coach Freeman. You've been here the longest now. Just what's it like now being in this position for a while, having gotten your feet wet? You're not the new head coach anymore. You've been running the program for a while. What have you learned about yourself maybe in these few years as the head coach, and what excites you about being in this role going forward?
I always feel like just never being too high or too low with the wins and losses. I think I learned that by being in this seat. And that first year was very difficult. Yeah. I mean, it was such a challenge with COVID, not the uncertainty of playing later and then following a legend. Like that was a tough season.
That's a lot.
It's a lot and transfer portal the next year, so and NIL. So everything was changing in college basketball, and to see where we are, to see the vision, implementing my system, implementing my culture, and luckily having just a great players to work with. So aligning with the right people. I feel like my staff is incredible. I'm aligned with the right roster. And so that makes my job so much easier. I'm living my dream to be able to coach here. Yeah. And so for now, feeling like a seasoned coach, I understand. I've taken all those experiences that I've had the past couple of years, and I'm really working on being present with this team. I'm grateful. I'm blessed. I'm a worker. I love this university, and to be able to say that I'm the leader just provides me my purpose every day. And that's how I go out and coach and mentor every day.
Well, Coach, I'm excited that we get to talk a few times throughout this year. I love watching your team play. I'm excited that, as you said, Sonia coming back, which is great news. Looking forward to seeing her back on the floor. And then I really am excited to talk to our next guest coming up, Hannah Hidalgo, who's just had an amazing start to the year. Seems like she's destined for great things here. So we'll take a break and we'll come right back. We've got Hannah Hidalgo joining us now. I started this topic a couple weeks ago with the football team, of all people, and I want to ask both of you this question, and I want to know if she knows anything about this, because you're so young. When were you born, Hannah? What year?
2005.
2005. I mean, I feel so old, Coach.
You.
I've made people feel old today. And one mixtape. Are you familiar with the And One mixtapes?
Oh yeah, the little old school, flashy.
Okay. You've watched them? Do you know any of the people on And One mixtape? You don't know any of the names. So if I say like Professor, Hot Sauce, Skip to My Lou, none of them do anything for you? All right. You feel old, Coach, when you hear that? Okay.
Yes.
Who was your And One mixtape player growing up then?
Probably Hot Sauce.
Hot Sauce was good. Yeah.
They're from Philly, right?
He might have been. AO was from Philly.
Yeah, AO's from Philly.
AO's from Philly, maybe. Yeah. So Hot Sauce, AO, Professor, obviously when he was on the bus, that whole thing. So that was like my era, like growing up, middle school, high school, and we're gonna have to find. So what do you like watch those guys? Who do you watch on like TikTok, Instagram, or the people that have like basketball movies you watch, or you don't even consume that stuff?
No.
Wow.
I don't consume that stuff.
Wow.
No.
Wow.
No. I just watch highlight tapes. That's
Okay.
the little
Who were the
flashy,
highlight tapes you
like
watched?
overtime tapes?
Okay.
Is that like similar?
Yeah.
That's what I watch.
Yeah. It was just different back in our day.
Yeah,
All right. So, Coach, she's been pretty good here in her first 6 games. Did you know Hannah would be as good as she's been in her first 6 games when you got her on campus?
Absolutely. And Hannah's just being Hannah. She's played like this her entire life, and I feel like she has that swag and confidence. And I figured like coming into the season, the transition was going to be easy for her. And she had 2 games overseas with us in the foreign tour, and then she was really, really comfortable. And so what you guys are seeing is kind of what I see every day and what I've watched recruiting her.
When you decided to come here, Hannah, why did you want to come here? Why did you want to play for Coach Ivey in this program?
Yeah, I think she's a players coach, and during the whole recruitment process, I felt like I was being recruited the same way the whole time. I felt like she was genuine and just consistent throughout the whole process. And I was like, when I came on my visit, I said, I'm a big family person, and so I saw that like this was home, and like everybody was a family. Everybody got along with each other, and then I watched how they got along with Neon. I thought that meant a lot to me.
So you felt welcomed right away?
Absolutely.
I could tell with Kylee, who we'll hear from later. We record this all backwards. But the older players have really helped you come along quickly too, right?
Absolutely.
What then, because I talked to Marcus Burton 2 weeks ago, and I asked him about his first practice, or one of his first practices with Coach Shrewsbury, and he said he called his mom after and said that he wasn't sure if he could make it because they're a little tougher than he was used to. What are practices like at this level? Are you able to handle them? You're good?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, my teammates and my coaches, they make everything so much easier. Obviously, it's a little more physical playing against grown men that are a little faster, a little stronger, especially during the summertime. It was tough. It was different, but my teammates and my coaches do a great job of encouraging me and, letting me know that everything is good.
Is there something you've learned about Coach Ivey in the first few months where, now that she's coaching you and not just recruiting you, you're like, oh, okay, this is what Coach Ivey's like, not necessarily recruiter Coach Ivey is like?
Nothing bad, of course.
Okay.
I mean, her will to win.
Sure.
I mean, she wants to win, and I love that because I'm a competitor, and I want to win just as much. So,
from her standpoint, Olivia's out, Sonia's out. That's probably more than a freshman was going to be asked to do originally if you had those two. So how have you had to balance, wanting her to be the leader and, person that stirs the drink for you guys, but at the same time knowing that she's a freshman, you got to bring her along a little bit. How's that affected the way you try to use her here in the first couple months with the 2 injuries you got?
Honestly, like, this is a really hard assignment, to run a Power 5 program with the schedule that we have and, opening up in Paris. But if anybody could do it, I knew that she could. So a lot of encouragement. I have a great relationship with her. I'm always, like she said, I'm a player's coach, but I always have a great relationship with the point guards because she's an extension of me. So that means a lot of film. And Sherelle does a really great job with her as well, Coach Allen. But I watch a lot of film with her. I'm in constant communication, and she receives it. Great players want to be coached, and she wants to be coached, and that's what I love about her. She has a very, very high IQ, and so that's probably the thing that's most impressive for me is I could tell her something, and the next play she'll remember, she absorbs the information, and she does it. And that's not easy to do for anyone, not even just a freshman. So she's been thrown in the fire. We talk about it a lot. I try to prepare her coming into the season, but she embraces it. She embraces the challenge because, again, she wants to win, like she talked about. She's a competitor. And ultimately, she's unselfish. Like, she wants to do whatever we need to help us win. Yeah. And to me, she's the type of player that's going to run through a wall for me. And I love that about her energy. But it takes a special person to be able to take on an assignment like this.
Yeah. She mentioned IQ. So what have you maybe learned about basketball even more in these 6 games? You mentioned the practices, playing against, more physical players in practice. But now that you've seen 6 games at this level, each day in and out, what have you learned, Hannah, maybe in the first month here that has expanded your basketball IQ already?
I would say, what have I learned? I learned I need to take better care of the ball for sure.
Okay.
I mean,
Is that being emphasized by the staff?
very much. Very much. Turnovers are being greatly emphasized, but just trying to, run the team and still trying to get acclimated to things. I try to make plays and just end up throwing the ball just out
You
of
can't get
bounds
away with that
somewhere.
as much, right?
No.
At this level? Yeah.
No.
What is it like then having, because Coach mentioned it, having someone that played a similar position as you can communicate? Do you like that? And the head coach, does that help you?
Absolutely.
Okay. What do you like about
She
that?
knows what I'm going through. Obviously, we're on the same page. And so she sees things and then I see things that bring them to her. So I love being able to be on the same page with her.
Coach, I talked to Marcus Freeman about this a decent amount. He's actually brought it up that when he went from a position coach or a coordinator to head coach, the thing he missed the most was being an assistant or a position specifically, because you can kind of be, closer to those players and you don't have to have the whole picture. So when you were an assistant, whether it was here or with Memphis, you could work maybe one-on-one with players. And then when you're the head coach, you got to keep everyone in mind. You can't just talk to the guards. Is that the same for you, that you feel maybe you have to look at it more broadly? You can't just focus on her. You got to focus on all 12 to 15 ladies. But what's that dynamic like for you?
Yeah, it's definitely different because I was really, really close with my position players.
Right.
I know everybody knows that relationship that I have with Skylar and Enrique and Jewel, everyone I'm just super close with because you spend the most time with them. But I'm still a players coach. I'm still a relationship coach. So I try to make that time for everyone. I feel like I have more communication with Hannah because she's running the point. Obviously, Same thing with Liv. But I try to make that time because I feel like there's power in that. So everyone understands what I'm thinking, and just having that. Sometimes it might just be, how are you doing? Or let's go to lunch. I try to spend time with them, every one of them at some point individually, but it is a completely different approach because you don't have that because there's so many that is relying on you. You can't have that much time with just one player. So I try to spread it equally. And again, just the relationship part for me is the most important part as a coach. I want to understand them. I want to know what's going on with them outside of basketball, but also with basketball. And to have that dialogue and communication with everyone. And sometimes I don't feel like there's enough time in the day, and I want to spend more time. And so I try to find pockets. I have them over a lot for dinner. And I feel like that's a time for me to be able to just to be in a different setting with them and have them in my home. I love that because that gives me more time with them.
What's on the menu then for dinner usually?
Oh, we had a great menu last week.
Okay, fill me in. What am I
So
missing
Chef
out on?
Grady, shout out to Chef Grady. He's from Chicago.
Oh, okay.
I don't cook. They
Okay.
know that. So
Sure.
I bring in a chef.
You're watching film. You're not.
Yeah, I'm watching film. I'm watching my son. So he came in and he made stuffing. He fried turkey. I've never even seen that.
Too good.
I watched. I
Was it- it was
videotaped it because
good?
I've never
It was
seen
too
it.
good.
Really?
Somebody
Wow.
fried some turkey. He fried turkey, mac and cheese. What else did we have? He did cornbread. He did cornbread. He did potato salad,
Fruit salad.
salmon, everything. And then on our way out to Ball State, he stayed over, spent the night in South Bend, and he did spaghetti and pasta, so more of a lighter version. So he did Thanksgiving meal, and then he stayed and did a light meal headed to Ball State. So all the food was there. It was just, we played catchphrase. It's a good time too.
Yeah.
I love that. And, I just love being able to break bread with my team. And it's not just, because it's more than the basketball piece.
Yeah. All right, last one then. This is a debate we've been trying to settle with all kinds of Notre Dame people that come on the show. I didn't go to school here, but I've, kind of adopted this place as my own, and I've gone to the dining halls. I eat at dining halls. Have you been to both dining halls already, or
No.
you've not been to both?
No.
You've been to either one?
Just the North. Well, obviously we get
Okay.
food. So it's
Okay,
like,
yeah. So you've been at North, but you've been to
been to
North.
North.
Okay, so your vote's for North then. You don't even get a vote.
Yeah, I had to.
I'm Team North. Coach, you
I'm
played
South.
here. You're South?
I'm South Dining Hall.
All right, we're going to talk about this throughout the year, but why
I'm
are you
dirty
South?
South.
Why? Why?
Dirty South.
Why are you South?
Just food is better.
Yeah. Isn't there more
Everything's
options?
changed since COVID though. But when I was a student, they had stir fry. North didn't have stir fry. It was kind of so they had more options. So
Okay.
that's why I would say South
It wasn't
Dining
because you just live closer when you're
Hall.
here?
And it was closer.
Okay,
Closer-
there it is. The
closer
truth
walk.
always comes out.
Closer
It's-
walk. More
everyone-
options in South. I don't know how it is right now.
Okay. North has been improved, but your vote's for South. I'm going to put it on the board. It's pretty close right now between North and South, all the guests you've had in football, men's basketball. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to let Coach get out of here, and we're going to bring Kylee Watson in. All right, we got Kylee Watson, Hannah Hidalgo. Thanks for joining the show. It's our first women's basketball show. I wanted to ask you, Kylee, to start because you've seen more college basketball than the freshmen here. How impressed are you with how good of a start she's off to in just her first, 6 games of college basketball? How impressive is it? Yeah.
No, I mean, gosh, I need to talk highly of you. No, I'm kidding. No, Hannah's awesome, and she's been so impressive as a freshman. I mean, I knew, we're both from South Jersey, so obviously I've heard about her, coming out of high school and stuff. I remember even my high school coach, I guess my high school played them, and they were like, oh my gosh, this little guard was cooking us, da-da-da-da. I was like, yeah, she comes Notre Dame, and obviously, I knew offensively she was the bucket, but I think I was most impressed with her defense, and I think the steals kind of speak for themselves.
What are you at? More than 5 a game, 5.5 a game, something crazy like that.
Insane.
Oh, you're not keeping track of the stats?
No.
You're sure?
No,
okay,
I'm
all right,
completely sure.
all right. Freshman, good call. What's it been like then for you, Hannah, to get to this level, and what's it been like to be on a team where you've got some vets like Kylee who have helped you acclimate to college, whether it's on the floor or just around campus? How valuable are the older people for you?
I mean, they've made the transition just so easy, and I know especially coming in, because I'm really introverted, so coming in I had to get comfortable. I was really quiet, never talked, never said anything, but especially I was Kylee, I wouldn't shoot the ball, and the guy was like shoot the ball, I would pass and get all the way to the basket and just try and dump the ball off to her and turn the ball over when she was telling me shoot the ball, and it really helped me get more comfortable, more confident, because they want me to shoot the ball, they want me to score, and they want me to be that leader, so they really helped me. The transition was just so easy. What
are those discussions like then, Kylee? Because I get it. If you're a freshman coming in, you don't want to step on any toes. But then you see her, like you said, and you heard that she was a bucket coming in. And you say, oh, well, we're going to need her to score for us. So how do you convey that to someone if they don't want to step on any toes?
Yeah, I mean, I think coming in, especially with Liv being out, she was coming in and being a point guard and leading a team as a true freshman, which is not an easy task at all. So it's you need to play with that kind of confidence that she's been playing with. To lead us, and even if we are the older girls, she's done a great job on the court, just making the right decisions and really just playing with confidence, and that's all that we can ask from her, and it's been really exciting to watch, obviously. So.
Hannah, what's been the toughest thing to get used to then being in college, not basketball, just going to school?
Yeah, the toughest thing, even with basketball, the academics, being able to time in and knowing when to say, okay, I got to put the scout down, I got to put the film down, and, set this time aside and do my work. So I feel that's definitely been the toughest thing, especially with finals coming around now. I have to really lock in, while also big games coming up too, just being able to have that balance.
This is the toughest part of the year, I feel for winter sports, whether it's basketball or even hockey, right? Because, like you said, big games coming up. I don't want to ask you about Tennessee here in a second, but managing your finals, you've done it a few times, Kylee. What's the toughest part about being an athlete around this time of year?
Yeah, I mean, exactly what you said. You're always traveling, you're missing class, which is very stressful. You're trying to juggle, do all this homework on the road and stuff. So I think just kind of setting aside time, like Hannah said, to kind of get your work done and stuff. But it's definitely a lot going on. You got to get your priorities straight for sure.
What are you studying?
I'm FTT major.
FTT. So you're in your wheelhouse right here, right?
Yes.
Do you know what you want to do when you're done playing hoops? Or what?
I want to go into sports broadcasting, similar to Dara was.
Oh, dang. Okay, so we got to get you and Dara on a broadcast together.
For sure.
Yeah, all right. We'll work on that. What about you? You're early in the game. You don't have to have it all figured out, but what do you want to get into? Do you know?
No, I'm undecided right now. I think I want to do FTT also, but all I know is I just want to stay in the basketball world. And whatever that is, I'm not sure, but I know I love the game of basketball, so I want to stay in the world.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about the trip to Tennessee. This is probably, I want to talk about Paris in a second. This is your first maybe big-time road trip to an environment like that. I'll start with you, then I'll go to Kylee. What are you excited for most about going on a big-time road game like the one coming up against Tennessee?
Yeah, I'm excited just for the energy. I know it's going to be a hostile environment, but I feel like I've been prepared and battle tested, especially when I played overseas in Spain and stuff like that. So it was just all Spanish fans all in the stands. So it really helped prepare me for big games like this that are coming up with Tennessee. So I'm so excited for the energy.
You've seen more of the college basketball landscape. You've been in big buildings. Getting ready for Tennessee, what excites you most? What do you have to get younger players ready for as you go into a big time game like that?
Yeah, I think I'm most excited just for our team to have another opportunity against a great team and another opportunity to kind of showcase what we can do, especially with Hannah as well. It's just historically Tennessee is a great basketball team, so it's going to be a really cool atmosphere down there. I'm just really excited to play with the girls.
Okay. Last question I have to get from both of you before I let you go and we take a break. I need to know about this trip to Paris. Like, I saw that pop up on the schedule last year, and I was thinking of all kinds of creative ways to convince Notre Dame they had to take me. Just, I don't know, extra photographer, anything, but it didn't work out. You're a freshman, and your first trip's out to Paris. Just what was the experience like for you?
It was great. And I love to travel. So just being able to, take that trip with the girls over to Paris to play the game of basketball against top-ranked South Carolina it was amazing. But it wasn't just, like, strictly basketball. Obviously, of course, we were there for business.
Sure.
But we had a whole bunch of other, like, events, went and saw the Eiffel Tower, went did some shopping, ate, and stuff like that. So just seeing, like, the different culture, it was amazing.
What about you, Kylee? How special was that trip? I know, again, the game didn't go the way you wanted to, but everything leading up to it looked pretty fun. What was your lasting memory from it?
Yeah, I mean, I love to travel as well. So, like, kind of see all the different cultures and the way that people live over there, and also just growing the game of women's basketball in general. Like, seeing the support that people flew overseas for is insane. It was really cool, really motivating in a sense. Like, we're on the right path to kind of spread the game.
All right. Well, I appreciate you guys both stopping by. We're going to take a quick break. Good luck at Tennessee.
Thank you.
And we'll talk to you guys later.
Thank you.
Thank you.
right. Okay, we're joined by the Mabrey sisters. We got Dara and we got Michaela. Coach Mike, it's good to see you again.
Good to see you too.
When was the last time you went to Orange Theory?
Oh my God! Don't ask me that.
Okay.
It's embarrassing, but it's been a little while here.
That used to be our thing on the road.
It used to be our thing, but
And then COVID kind of,
it was COVID. I blame
know.
it on COVID.
Yeah.
I blame it on myself.
my membership's gone.
Oh, you too?
I deleted
Okay.
mine. I changed fitness brands. We won't give any free ads out. I want to start with our coldest moment of the week. This is where we always talk to a couple of student athletes, or in this case, a former student athlete coach, about the coldest moment of the week. It's presented by Yeti. I want each of you to tell me the coldest moment you've seen from the other person in their Notre Dame career. I'll start with Coach Mike because you more recently coached Dara. What's her coldest moment of her career?
I'm going with round of 32 in Oklahoma last year, versus Oklahoma last year, where she had 7 threes, 29 points, and was just a killer. Like, it was just, it was like, speaking about cold, I mean, cold face, you see it right now.
I can see you reliving it right now, Dara. What's going through your head?
It's
Just
just
thinking about it.
incredible. Like, that was
so fun.
It was so
Yeah.
fun.
It was so fun. It was like leading up to the game, we kind of knew what we were expecting with UMass, but then like everyone put all this hype around the Oklahoma game, and they create like a really competitive atmosphere like in their gym with their fans, and I was just like, screw this. Like,
And they played that matchup zone.
Yeah,
They played that
exactly.
matchup zone. I was like, we're gonna get some.
We're kind of
threes.
Shooter.
come up
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
here, beat the brakes off them, and then get out. And it was just from the first quarter, like our whole program, the left side of the gym,
The
was
left side of the
just-
gym.
Everyone knew what we were about to do, and Oklahoma had no idea, and they were like, wow.
What's it like when you're that hot? Like when you're shooting that well, is it an out-of-body experience? Like you start just seeing stars? What goes through your head?
Yeah, seeing stars. Yeah, almost. It's almost like the ball. I wasn't even I mean, you have to credit Olivia too, especially like that
Yeah,
game.
Liv was
but
finding
the
you.
ball was like
Yeah.
just finding me the whole time, and I was like kept looking for shots, but like at some point I was just like shooting it.
Okay.
It was definitely your night.
Now,
It was
Yeah.
cool watching it though for me.
yeah, well, I want to get into that in a second because
Yeah.
you have an interesting view of her career
Yeah.
here. But let's go to Michaela's moment. Now, you were younger, but do you have a
Yeah.
coldest moment thinking about when she was a player here that comes to mind?
I wouldn't say moment, because I was really young in
Right.
terms of like what she did personally as a player, but her class was, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, the all-time winningest at
That's
Notre
true.
Dame.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
So like growing up, just going to see her in the Final Four every year, whether it was flying or
Every year.
driving, every year. I'll never forget that Tampa trip was so fun.
Oh my
I think
gosh,
I was
that
like,
was
what, like
so fun.
14 or something. But like just watching her
14.
win, like
15.
ACC championship, all the brackets throughout March Madness, and then making it. And I think probably the one that I'll remember the most was that South Carolina game, because that was really special. Like not even for her, but like for her roommates and her friend group. And I would just say her legacy here is the most impressive thing to me.
Michaela, when you think back, it's been a while now since you're on the floor.
Thanks, Tony. Thanks.
I brought up Orange Theory and now how old you are. Yeah. What is it? What comes to mind when you think about your time playing? Because you've done so much now here as a coach and everything. But like, you think back to the playing days.
Yeah.
What are the memories that flood to your mind?
There's so many, but I had such a great experience here. Like we won a lot. That was what we did, right? Like we won a lot of games. But I have some of my best friends from being here and playing with them. Like to this day, we see each other all the time, as much as we can with our jobs permitting. But that's what you remember the most. Like you remember the wins, you remember the championships, you remember the Final Fours. Like you don't take those for granted, but it was the memories I made with my teammates and the relationships that I have with them that made it all so special. So I always tell everybody, my dad says it all the time. He always says that, like, you had the best 4 years, like just overall between basketball, school, socially, my friend group. We enjoyed life. We really did. We won, but we enjoyed every moment of it.
So I haven't had a chance to talk to you guys much since you were playing for your sister. Like I find this to be fascinating because you hear all the time like coach's son, coach's daughter, like whoever it might be. There's the parent and son or daughter dynamic that would exist on a team, but it's rare you'd see sibling. So I need to know, like, what was this dynamic like? For you, Dara, let me start with you. When you came here and you're like, okay, I'm going to play, and then my sister, who's always been your older sister, is going to be my coach. Like, what were you worried about? What were you excited about? And then
Dara,
what was that dynamic like? What was it like having older sister, I won't say bossing you around, but telling you what to do?
Yeah. I knew, like, the dynamic would have to change at some point, like, from a professional standpoint. Like, I can't just, like, go up to her and say whatever I want, like, even though I did sometimes. But I knew some of it was going to change. But, like, surprisingly, everyone thought that there was going to be, like, this bad stigma behind a family member coaching, whether it was, like, a sister, father-daughter thing. Like, and it really wasn't like that at all. It was fun. I felt, like, more open. So we were able to, you know, even if it was just, like, having a question in practice, like, I knew that she was always going to be available to me, which was cool. But we were also able to separate, like, the coach and sister relationship. So, like, I could have played the worst game of my life, but when that game was over, if I wanted to go over to her house and talk about anything else, we could. Like, I would say we did a really good job naturally, you know, like, instinctively with our relationship. Never any problems. There was some times where, like, no offense, I wanted to, like, punch you in the face, like, because we would just be, it would be like a sister instinct. Like, I'll never forget this one. It was ACC tournament shoot around, and I didn't do anything wrong. I don't know what
ACC tournament shoot around.
Yeah. So I don't know what game it was, but we were getting ready for the next round of the ACC tournament, and I, like, came off the ball screen or something, and she just had, like, the nastiest remark. Like, it was, I don't know what it was. If you were in a mood or something, I have no idea. But, like, I turned to Sonia and I was just like I was so mad. I was like, no way. Like, the sister instinct from her and from me. But then, like, 30 seconds later, we were laughing about it, which was like that kind of stuff was fun. Okay, Coach Mike, were you out of line there? Were you overreacting, or were you in the right?
This was the hardest thing for me. Okay. Because I feel like as a sibling, right, you're probably most honest with your siblings, or, like, your parents. You usually just you're blunt. You're to the point. You don't sugarcoat anything, and that's how it comes off. Like, that's how it is most of the time. Like, that's what it is, I feel like. And I had to learn with her, I feel like, when I coached her, was I can be blunt with her, because I am blunt with all of them. But I also have to love her up from the coaching space, because that's what I do for all of the girls. Right. I can be on them and I can be blunt with them, but I also love them up, and they feel that and they know that. For her, I feel like in the beginning, it was just me being blunt, and that was it. Because you're trying to prove that you're not giving her special treatment, right? So it was more like I had to learn the balance of doing that with her in front of everybody else. Do you know what I mean? Because it was hard. It was hard for me because I'm a very blunt person. I'm going to say what I have to say, but I also knew that I had to love her up in that space because we did already have our foundation of being sisters and being able to go home and talk about whatever and have that relationship. But it was more when I was coaching her that I could love her up at the same time like I did everybody else.
That's interesting. I want to ask a different question for Dara here because now you're getting into what I missed?
Nothing.
Oh,
She's
okay.
just, yeah.
I'm an only child, so I missed a lot of the sibling stuff. Broadcasting. You're getting into broadcasting.
Yeah.
And so something I was curious about, because you're going to cover this team a little bit here and there. If your sister has the scout and they're not maybe doing too well in the first couple media timeouts, are you going to be willing to come down hard on the staff and say, hey, it doesn't look like they've come out the right way? I know that Coach Mike had the scout.
Yeah, what do you say to that?
What are you going to do? Are you going to be able to hold her to the same standard you hold everyone else?
That's a great question.
You haven't thought about that
I
yet.
think I could very so under the radar say maybe we should look for some adjustments from the staff if something just clearly isn't working within the team. I've only been on a couple games, but I usually try to stick with the players. But I think I might have some leeway to take a shot at
You can take a shot
a
at me.
staff member.
But she would know the scout. I mean, she knows the scout. When I'm doing the scout, she knows what the plan is because she sees me up doing it, and she'll ask okay, what do you think about this, or what are you thinking about doing, and then once we go through the scout and Niele and I discuss it, it's okay, then she knows what it is.
Yeah. Well, last question before we take a quick break is for you, Coach Mike. Now that she's getting into broadcasting, what excites you the most about her as a broadcaster? What are you looking forward to when you watch her on the air as she gets more reps doing this?
You know what's so crazy? I always thought she would be so good at it. I knew that whatever her path was going to be, it would probably end up being that at some point because she's so naturally bright when it comes to basketball and knowing the game and all that. But it's more her on camera and being able to articulate certain plays or certain things and being able to speak it the right way. But also she's smart. So she understands the game and understands what defenses are trying to do or what offenses are trying to do or what are they trying to accomplish and I feel like to be a great broadcaster, to be able to break film down along with also being able to articulate it with your words and all that, I think she's going to have a great career, a long, bright career in broadcasting. So I'm very excited. I'm glad she's here and she's doing it, and I get to witness it when she does.
All right. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll come back with our From the Irish segment.
Okay.
Okay, this is our From the Irish segment. It's presented by TireRack.com. We always take a question from the fan base. Here's a special question for the two Mabrey sisters, okay? This is from Patty M. in Belmar, New Jersey.
Oh, my God.
What were the one-on-one games like on Christmas morning with
she
all
actually
5
do this?
siblings? I swear it's right here. And who would win? This is no joke. Patty M.
So our mother, by the way, for everybody to clarify.
We usually just go with the first initial last name, but Patty M. Yeah.
Do you want to answer that first? No?
Who would win? One-on-one games. There were 5 of you, three girls, 2 boys.
See, Patty M is not being specific because it depended on where we were in life. We played all the time so many years that earlier on, I would probably win.
Right, oldest.
But then Marina started to get better, Dara started to get better, and then most recently though, the last time, that was probably a couple years ago, Ryan beat Marina, right? That was the last one.
Yeah.
Ryan beat Marina.
That's a big step.
That's
for
a big.
him.
That's a
Yeah.
big step for him. That gave him some confidence.
Okay.
But Marina mostly,
Yeah, the pro.
I think took the.
Yeah.
I call
took
her the
reins.
pro. So bonus question for you then, Dara. If it's not one-on-one, 3-point contest, just between the 3 Notre Dame Mabreys on the women's team, who wins 3-point contest? You're getting 5 at each spot, so 25 around the horn. Who wins?
Me, for sure.
Not going to go with the humble option, right? Okay.
I mean, none of
No.
us are.
But
gonna go with the humble option.
this is realistic.
We're being realistic.
Yeah.
Being realistic isn't real. But go ahead.
But I think I would win.
You think you win? How many do you make out of 25 then?
22.
22. I was gonna say
Yeah.
22.
Yeah.
Because I'm probably I'm knocking down like 21.
Oh.
So I've got you at
Definitely
22.
are,
You
for
see,
sure.
you've seen the video when I got a letter off of Marina.
Yes.
Oh,
You've
of
seen it.
course.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
I got a letter off of Marina.
Wow,
That's pretty
that
good.
was a long
How many?
time
So
ago.
so you got 22. Marina's gonna make what? 20. You have her at 20.
I'm gonna go I'm gonna go right below me, 21.
Okay. And Coach Mike's just sitting there. What? 18 these
Now,
days?
or are we talking about?
I'm talking
back
today.
In college?
Yeah,
oh,
but
today.
today.
you'd be
Oh,
really
no.
good at it.
Today, I don't know how many I would get.
Okay.
But
in your day.
in my day, and I think I'm right on this. We can quote this.
Okay.
But I have the highest 3-point percentage out of all three of us.
That is
Percentage.
true.
Okay.
That's
She's
true.
made the most. However, she did it in 5 years.
Okay.
High volume.
Marina did it in 4.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we all kind of have our little wins.
At the
if you
Thanksgiving
will.
table, depending on how you argue it, you can all make a case. I
Oh,
like
we
yeah,
can
we
all
could.
totally. I feel
Okay.
like Marina would say like,
I think she's
what would she say?
she's the best because she can hit she hits all different kinds of long range shots.
On the
Like she can
move.
take you off the dribble and then
yeah,
just pull it.
she's
You have
she's
by
like that.
far the furthest range.
Totally accurate. That's totally accurate.
And then I think I would say I had more games than us, like where I got hot. You know what I mean?
Okay,
Does that make sense?
this is what we're talking about. We could
Yeah.
all make a case for all
Okay.
three of
I'm gonna
us.
go then. We can all make a case. You could
Yeah.
all be the best shooter, but Coach Mike wanted
For
that.
sure.
We defer to the
Yeah.
eldest. Guys,
Okay.
It's all right.
You got that one.
I still love you.
thank you so much for joining us. First women's basketball episode this year. Really appreciate it. Looking forward to watching you broadcast and watching you work the sidelines the rest of the year.
Thanks, Tony. Appreciate you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for having us.
That'll do it for this week's episode of Wake Up the Echoes presented by TireRack.com. Thanks to all our guests, Kylee Watson, Hannah Hidalgo, Dara, and Michaela Mabrey, and of course the head coach, Niele Ivey. Remember, if you want your question answered on our From the Irish segment, just go to fightingirish.com/wake up. You can submit those questions every week. We always have great guests at the end of every show. Looking forward to talking to everyone next week when we have Micah Shrewsbury back on the show. Until then, we'll talk to you next.